Alright guys, this is it. The voyage is over. I have finally docked after being out in the middle of the ocean all by myself for so long, riding the waves. It feels like forever ago when I took sail, but nonetheless, we are finally here. I can tell this is going to be the most difficult video I've had to make up to this point. I have so many emotions kind of overwhelming me right now. I have so much to say. I just kind of want to get everything out in the open and just kind of bring all of this to a closure. The first question I think a lot of people have is why I decided to do this in the first place. The answer to that question for me personally kind of evolved as we kind of walked ourselves down this path. But in the beginning, as I explained in the first video, it was just out of curiosity. I was at a Low Carb USA conference and a few doctors were talking about doing an overfeeding study. This piqued my interest. I essentially volunteered myself. So what I did over these past 21 days is not a scientific experiment by any stretch of the imagination. This was essentially a social experiment. So none of the things that you saw in the videos should be taken as medical advice. This was just simply something that I personally wanted to do. I wanted to challenge myself as well, and I knew this would be a great challenge, and it was. I also obviously wanted to spark debate, which it has. And I also wanted to challenge the dogma of calories in, calories out, which I have. And so with that said, I'm gonna just get right to it and we will go over the results. So before we get into the results, I just want to kind of cover the blood work thing. So if you guys watched me from the very beginning, I got my blood work done before this experiment. I shared that blood work with you guys and essentially it backfired on me because it was borderline medical advice. Now, when it comes to the cholesterol and all of those things, that's kind of a gray area for me. That's something that I'm developing my understanding of. That's another huge beast that needs to be tackled. A lot of misconceptions, a lot of misunderstandings. And so in the past, I have always sought out the help of professionals. I have talked to Jimmy Moore. I did a video on that you can watch. In this situation, I brought in a scientist to kind of help me interpret my numbers, and I shared that with you. Unfortunately, that video was removed, and since then I kind of had to shift, you know, what I was gonna do at the end. So I decided not to do blood work at the end of this experiment. I know that's gonna upset a lot of you, but my blood work came back great. In the very beginning, I was very happy with it. My HDL was high, my triglycerides were low. The ratio between the two was phenomenal. My LDL was borderline high, but that's to be expected on this diet. And from my understanding, you have to take into consideration the particle size. But the one thing that I got back that really made me rest easy and be confident that what I'm doing is good is the HSCRP test. If you watch the Jimmy Moore interview, you'll understand the importance of that test. Essentially, it measures the level of inflammation in your body. When you have a lot of inflammation in your body, your liver secretes CRP, C-reactive protein, to kind of fight that off. So anything under 1.0 is considered good by Jimmy Moore's estimates. Mine came back at 0.02. So I know that I have a very, very, very low level of inflammation. And as Jimmy explained, the inflammation is the source, the root of the problem. It is the fire, and the cholesterol is the firefighter. So now we are going to go over my body weight and the results of that. So I weighed in at 146 pounds, which means I had a 2-pound loss over the course of 21 days after taking in 4,000 calories, over 350 grams of fat. That shocks me just as much as it shocks you. At the beginning of this study, I did not expect to lose any weight whatsoever because, as I'd mentioned before, I was pretty much at what I considered an all-time low at that point. I thought my weight would creep up to around 155 pounds, which is where I sat pretty much for the past year. I did not think I would add any body fat, but nonetheless, I thought my overall weight would go up. So the highest we reached was 150. That was on like day 5. And then at that point, I thought, okay, we're going up. and the scale just said no, and it went right back down. It hovered around 147. We got all the way down to 145, and you know, if you watch all the old videos throughout this whole thing, I've been just as confused and shocked as you guys, and I don't really have any solid explanation. I will leave that up to you guys to decide how that happened. Nonetheless, though, in my mind, it's remarkable because if you consider the fact that I weighed 148 pounds in the beginning, I was taking in 4,000 calories with so much fat, you would assume that I would definitely have gained body weight. I assumed it. I know you must have as well. I kept the ratios as close to 75% fat, 20% protein, 5% carbs. It seemed like throughout the entire experiment, my protein levels were always very, very low. I actually ended up coming in more or less on average around 10%. I was very good at keeping the carbs down, usually on average about 30 grams. And my fat was sky high, which is why I think my protein was always so low, is because I was so focused on getting fat, because that's where I was able to get the biggest calorie for my buck. And it just instinctively drove my protein levels down. But I will, again, leave it up to you to kind of hypothesize and try and come up with different reasons for why I actually lost 2 pounds, because, again, I'm just as surprised as you. So now we will talk about the body fat percentage. Again, this is another one of those things where I was honest to God surprised, because the first time I went and got my body fat percentage taken, I was at 5.2%, which is very low. And I thought there was no way in hell I was ever going to be able to go any lower than that. But as it turns out, we did. We lowered that by 0.2. So we are at 5.0. You know, I again am at a loss for that. It's very, very encouraging. Going back to, again, you would have thought that I would have increased my overall body fat given how much fat I was taking in and how many calories I was taking in. It simply did not happen. I did not add a lot of lean muscle, lean mass, but again, it was only 21 days, so I didn't really think I was going to add a bunch of muscle in 21 days anyways. So that is, you know, the data of this social experiment. You know, I feel like, you know, that this challenge for me became something way more than just taking in 4,000 calories a day. You know, in the beginning, in the first few days, I was just focused on getting in the calories, and then all of a sudden it turned into something much, much greater. The true challenge came in where I had to conquer so much adversity. Before this, I probably came out with one YouTube video a week. Given the fact that I was a new father and a husband, I just had a difficult time coming out with YouTube videos. I had to make sure they were perfect, so many stresses about all of that stuff. And then I decided when I was going to start this challenge that I would vlog every single day. And I knew from the very beginning of this experiment that was going to be a huge, huge challenge, and that if I died at the end of this 21 days, it was going to be because of the stresses of vlogging and the hours and hours of editing and shooting every single thing that went into my mouth, and opening up my life to you guys would kill me before the 4,000 calories did. But I adapted, I got better, I didn't make any excuses whatsoever, and I just made it work. You know, if you go and you look back at all the videos, it's remarkable how much adversity and how many challenges and unforeseen obstacles that I faced in just a matter of 21 days. I just sitting here right now, it's like overwhelming to think about. And you know, that's just life. I'm just like you, right? I set out on day one with a goal. And I just knew that I was going to have to do whatever it took to get it done, no matter what happened. And when the storms came, I didn't give myself any out. I said, you know, it has to get done. I have to do it. It's not going to be perfect all the way through. I had bad days. I had good days. I never let a bad day creep into the following day, because I knew that that would be my demise. And so I'm appreciative that I got to share my journey with you guys, because you get to see that even somebody like me faces adversity. And you get to now understand that that really is the secret to success, is weathering those storms. It's not about the calories and the macros and the grams and all this other shit that's going to determine whether or not you're successful or not. What's going to determine whether you are successful is your ability to overcome obstacles, to stay strong in the face of adversity, to hit a momentary failure and say to yourself, I'm not giving up. I'm going to take another risk. I'm going to keep throwing myself out there day after day after day. And when you do that, you grow. Right? You develop. That is the beauty of being on the journey. And I can sit here in front of you right now and say that I am so glad that I did this. Even when I had no idea what the outcome would be, I'm so glad I did this because I have grown as a person. I will be a stronger husband, a stronger father. The challenges that I face once I turn this camera off, I will be better at dealing with. I went through the battles and I feel like I won the war. And so, this is going to be something that sticks with me forever. Just knowing, and it always seems impossible until it's done. Day one, I said so many times, especially when it came to the vlogging every day, shit, this is going to be impossible. I literally, even people around me were like, yo, this is going to be impossible, man. You don't know what you signed yourself up for. But I got it done. That's the most important thing. I got it done. Now I want to address the doubters, okay? The people who challenged me all along the way. I appreciate you doing that because it just gave me more motivation to succeed. And you are allowed to have your doubts. You can question absolutely everything that I have done. That is fine. I respect that from you. But I will tell you this. There is no way that you can sit here and tell me that the ketogenic diet is a fad. Because if you take a look at all of the comments on all 21 of these videos, you will find success story after success story after testimonial where the ketogenic diet has saved lives. It has made a huge difference. It has woken people up. It has given people hope. Like I've said before, there are people out there right now who struggle with weight and they don't know why. And they've essentially given up because they've been told their whole life that they're fat because they eat too much and they're lazy. Now, I have a big problem with that, and that is my mission, is to take those people and wake them up and say, no, listen, it's not your fault. It's not a behavioral thing. It has everything to do with hormones, insulin in particular, and the ketogenic diet can help you. All you have to do is kick the carbs, don't be afraid of the fat, and watch your life change, and it has. And I'm just one spoke in this huge wheel, in this huge movement that is going forward in this society that is just sweeping people up. It's taken all the disaffected people, all the people that have given hope, and it said, hey, let's go. It's okay, man. You can do this. Here's an effective strategy. So when you come in my comment section or you want to challenge this and give your negative input, you're entitled to that. But you will never take away the success from the thousands of people who have found success with the ketogenic diet. So with that said, I am going to extend a huge thank you to you for supporting me on this journey. It has been extremely stressful. I have gone through so much. I felt like giving up so many times. There were so many times I woke up and I was like, I just can't do this. But I would go to the comment section and I would read your stories. I read every single comment. Okay, and your passion and to change your life, and my ability to just be one little small component of that is truly humbling. It's truly inspiring for me, and it's what kept me going, and it's what's going to keep me going in the future. I consider myself blessed to have an impact on your life. I hope that over the last 21 days of me doing this, I've been able to kind of help you along your journey. That's really what I wanted to get out of this is us walking down this road together. Even though we may have had separate goals, we still conquered challenges together. We still learned together. We still gave each other confidence. And I just really appreciate that. And I, honest to God, from the bottom of my heart, I love you for that. It has made me feel like I have found my passion, and there really, honest to God, is no stopping you. Okay, you must just keep pushing forward. And there's gonna be tough days, but you can never question that you have the right strategy, that you have what it takes, and just always be willing to put in 100% and be in it for the long haul. Give yourself time, like I've told you guys before. Don't put so much stress and so much pressure on yourself. Learn to enjoy the journey. Learn to just embrace the chaos. That's what this is all about. Because when the chaos kind of settles, you will be you will have much better form. You will be much stronger person. So let's just keep kicking ass, guys. And so that obviously finally brings us to the big question of what's next for me. I can tell you right now, 4,000 calories is not what's next for me. After this day of eating 4,000 calories, I will not eat 4,000 calories again. Force feeding myself fat over the past 21 days was brutal. I'm sure you guys saw me struggle. It was brutal. It was not necessary. It was just something that I had to do. So I'm not eating 4,000 calories. I will be completely honest with you guys. I will not be tracking my macros. I will not be weighing out my food. I will not be using tablespoons and cups and stressing and being OCD about a lot of that stuff. It was interesting because when I went to the zoo and you watched the zoo video, I took a look at these lions, right? And I sat there and I thought to myself, man, these lions are perfectly regulated systems. And in the wild, they are so in tune with their body that when they get the impulse to eat, they go and they eat. They go and they make a kill, and they walk up to the animal and they eat the fattiest part first, and they eat until they're satiated. They eat until they get the impulse that they're done, and they're done. And that's all there is to it. They don't wake up and say, okay, guys, it's 12 o'clock, time to go get some lunch. They don't say, well, guys, it's been 3 hours, we should probably get our next meal in. They don't say, well, guys, it's probably time to break our fast, let's go eat. They don't get up to the animal and say, well, we're only supposed to have 2,000 calories today, so we should probably stop eating. They just listen to their bodies. And they allow their bodies to dictate, how many calories essentially they take in. And so that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a lion. I believe, and everybody is different. If you track calories, you track macros, that's fine. That's obviously okay. I'm not telling you should do what I'm going to do, but I am going to trust that I have the right strategy, and I'm going to use my instincts. I'm going to allow my body to dictate how many calories I'm going to have on a daily basis. You can't do that when you're running on carbohydrates. That's one of the beauties of the ketogenic diet, because when you're running on carbohydrates, you are at the mercy of blood sugar fluctuations, insulin spikes and falls. You get hungry every 2 hours. Your system is all out of whack. On the ketogenic diet, the beauty in it is that you can regulate your system. You can allow your body, you can get your mind in touch with your body. You can start trusting yourself. And that's where I want to get myself back to. I don't want to stress. I'm not looking for a magic calorie number. I know now, and I'm confident that I'm eating the right foods, that I'm getting that I can get to 75% fat, 20% protein, 5% carbs. I have trained myself well enough to know instinctively that's going to be done every single day. If I question whether or not I am doing it right, I'll go back to tracking for a day or two. But no matter how many calories I eat, if I wake up tomorrow and I eat 1,500 calories instead of 4,000, as long as I'm within that ratio, I'm going to be good. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna be a damn lion, and it's gonna feel good, and I deserve it, and we'll see what happens. No matter what happens, the ketogenic diet is a part of me now. It is an awakening for me. It's kind of my big fuck you to the big food companies, the big government, the big pharmaceutical industries that lied to me for so long. And I feel like I've discovered the answer, and it makes so much more sense, and it's something that I will continue to use to help other people. I will do it again to the day that I die. So that's what's next for me. Obviously, I'm going to continue doing YouTube. I'm going to take a small break from the daily vlogs just because I just need a small break. We are going to the Arnold Classic, so I will be taking you guys with me to that. I have to wrap this up because this video is getting long. I just, again, want to thank you so much for absolutely everything that you guys have done for me. And I appreciate the fact that you appreciate what I've done, and this journey will continue, guys. Keep marching towards your goal. Screw the haters. Believe in yourself. Trust yourself. And as always, keep up the good work and much love.